MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Hello, good morning and welcome to our weekly program, the Mid-Morning Park here at MBCI TV. I hope you are doing fine and welcome to this program which talks about various issues, be it economic, political, social, or even education, scientific, depending on the issues at hand. My name is Paul Kagi on behalf of my co-presenter Mangicho Mola, who is not in today. We are going to talk about various issues. Number one, the national examination and the CBC report. Also, the County Integrated Development Plan, CIDP, and finally, the launch of the Hustlers Fund. And today, we have two guests who are with us. We have Mr. Michael Gashohi, who I'm going to give a chance later on, and Madam Winkinsta Akinyi, who are going to help us to be able to put more light on these two issues. But before we go on, there are some things that are at hand this week. Number one, the launch of the Hustlers Fund, either today or tomorrow, and then the maize importation has been stopped by the government after farmers have really complained about it. And finally, the anti-IBC commissioners' demo have been stopped by the opposition. And MPs are to approve or to reject the PS nomination list tomorrow in Parliament. And then the World Cup is ongoing at Qatar. Welcome back to the Mid-Morning Park. Once again, my name is Paul Kagi. If you need to talk to us, I'm going to give you our numbers, our SMS numbers, 23814, 23814. If you want to speak to us via SMS, you can text via 0721 105 105. You can also catch on us on our Facebook account, MBCI TV. We are live at our YouTube account, MBCI TV Official. We have one question for you. You can respond using those accounts. That is, what development programs would you want to see established in your county? What development programs would you want to see established in your county? You can text 23814. That is our normal SMS number, and then 0721 105 105 is our WhatsApp number. Without wasting much time, I want to welcome our guest this morning. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our program this morning.
Thank you. Paul.
Yes, I want to give you a chance to say hi to the audience and tell us once again your name and what you do in this Republic of Kenya. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul. My name is Winkinsta Akinyi. I work with Center for Enhancing Democracy and Good Governance. This is an NGO based in Nakuru County. And at the moment, I'm the coordinator of Nakuru County CSOs Forum. This is a coalition of like-minded organizations that have come up to promote participatory development in the county of Nakuru.
Thank you so much. Michael?
Good morning, viewers. My name is Mwalimu Michael Gashohi. As the name suggests, I've been a teacher for over 31 years, but retired last year. And currently, I'm also a certified life growth and leadership coach. And that's basically what I'm involved in right now on the issues of life coaching and leadership coaching.
Mm. Yes. Thank you. I'm interested to hear that you have retired.
Yes, I'm retired.
And we thank God for that. And as you know, the national exams are going on, the KCP exams, and also the KCSE, and also the grade 6 KPSEA are also going on.
Yes.
Now, I hope you have been following the issue of our national exams for quite some time now. Maybe to ask, how would you rate the running of our examinations in the country for the last maybe 10 years? Are we on the right track? Are we progressing, or we still have some work to do?
First and foremost, I have said I've been a teacher, and most of that time I've been teaching,
yes,
I've actually been teaching in secondary schools.
All right.
There's some part I taught in tertiary institutions, or in the tertiary institution, and some other times when I was training teachers. But basically, I've been involved in the administration of those exams. And I can say that for quite some time, our education system, the entire education system, has actually been too much exam-oriented, such that we have been having so many people, or the majority of the people who are in school, they are not going for knowledge and skills and values. They are actually going for grades and certificates. And that I would think is what prompted a number of years back, whereby the level of irregularities and cheating in exams went too high. But come 2016, the first time that we had the Honorable Fred Matiang'i come up and said this has to stop. And the first group that had that was 2016 groups, both KCPE and KCSE. And I would say that by and large, we haven't gotten rid of the vice completely. I wouldn't say so. But I think by and large, the conduct of exams has been okay. But again, you realize that it's like the whole education system is geared towards only one thing, assessment, you know, and summative assessment. It's like whatever has been going on for the 8 years or the 4 years is nothing. It's like everything, even the media and everybody is simply forecast, and immediately the results are announced. You see the medias visiting even the homes of those people to show where they have come, some other children being carried shoulder high by even their teachers and so on. I think the national psyche has been too much towards the exams.
Before we go to that direction, Mr. Michael, I want to talk about the integrity of the exams. We have had severally whereby we have seen some people who have been arrested because of the issue of stealing of exams, and you have been involved in the administration of the exams. So my question is, how comes that such an exam of high caliber, well guarded, that we find some people still have access to the content of the exams and selling them? Where do we go wrong as a country?
I think once again is what I've said. We are so much geared, and our national psyche is on exams until we forget that exams is just a summative assessment. And that is why I would also think that the grade 6 exams has moved away a little bit away from that. But I would want to say that people steal banks. You know, we have people going to the banks, and yet they have a very high level of security. And because of the premium that has been placed on exams in this country, some people are ready and willing to spend anything and to do anything so that their child or their pupil can actually, because the persons who starts the cheating is not the pupil. You know, it is a grown-up somewhere. Whether that grown-up is in the Kenya National Exam Council, or whether that grown-up is a parent, or whether that grown-up is a teacher, it is a grown-up somewhere. You know, somebody who should know better, somebody who should be more responsible. And what they do is that there has been several ways of going about that. One of them is impersonation, where we have somebody coming and sitting for the exam on behalf of another
person. And
the good thing is that our systems have been able to discover that. The fact that some people are taken to court shows that there is vigilance. Then the other thing that sometimes we have is whereby there is an exam leakage. I would say that an exam leakage cannot come from a school. It must be coming from Kenya National Exam Council. And that shows the rot that is there even in the people who are supposed to be offering this exam. Because they are the custodians. They are the ones, it is under lock and key. It is them who are supposed to ensure the integrity of that exam. Until the first person to see it, it should be the people or the student who is doing it.
Very true.
But sometimes you find somehow there is that leakage, and sometimes in the social media right now, they are spread. And but again, you should also know that there are so many of them which are fake. So many of those things are not real. We have had cases where people have been told this is the exam. They go and cram and do everything in that exam, but on the material day, they go there and find that the paper is totally different from what they had.
Oh, there's some guys who want to
make money.
Ways to make money.
Yes, to make money out of that.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Winkinster, I know you have been following the exams in the country, and we are trying to see whether the integrity of our exams are a bit respectable. How would you rate our exams integrity so far? even looking at the last decade?
All right, thank you, Paul. And maybe what you may not know, I'm a teacher by profession.
Ah, didn't know.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm a high school trained teacher. And I think I taught, after my graduation, I taught for around 5 years before I joined the NGO world.
Yes.
And I want to agree with Mwalimu in terms of his observation on the entire process of the examination. And not badly off, we are above par or above average in terms of administration of examination and respect of the examination by the society and by the system. What I would want to add is that in the practical sense of it, you realize that we've come to a society, or we become a society where exams are highly held, you know, and even children know that for you to be able to do well in this world, you must pass examination.
Yeah.
So our academic is so much exam-oriented to the extent that even some education institutions, they teach exams. They do not teach the content and the concept that the children are supposed to get. For example, if it's biology or physics or even home science, the children end up, or the students end up reading examination. Just yesterday, I was having a conversation with my daughter, and she was telling me, I won't name the school or the schools they were at, that, Mom, you know, I have a friend from another school, a school B, let me call it school B, and she told me that they are very strict, and what they do, they revise exams almost every day. So I'm trying to imagine what is happening in our institutions is more or less drilling, not educating the children. So what will happen when these students transit to university or even to the colleges where they're expected to be very independent? They will not be able to intellectually comprehend concepts in various sectors or in various disciplines. So that is so dangerous for our society in terms of growth, both economically and even socially. Then even the society itself, our children, our parents and the community at large,
Yes.
we really respect exams. In fact, when our child comes back home, we are not even concerned about the understanding or the concepts that are taken through by their teachers, but we're only concerned about, at the end of the term, what grade has my child scored? We do not even follow up throughout the term. The only time I'll interact with my child is when they come back home at the end of the term. But in terms of progress, we are nowhere. So the society has created, you know, a situation whereby it's about exams, and we pay school fees for exams, and that is very dangerous for ourselves. And then the system, Mwalimu has talked about, people are earning. It has become an income-generating activity. So whenever exams are just about, there are so many papers that are printed that, you know, they're proposed examinational questions. So because of that, again, just about exams and nothing more. So I think CBC is coming to address this issue, but again, in terms of implementation of that curriculum, there is need for proper facilitation and putting together adequate resources to be able to effectively implement the curriculum.
Yeah, we shall be talking about the CBC report later on, but I want to take you back to the 844 system, which was disbanded, and then we are in a new system. Is there a leave? Because 844 system, especially in primary school, whereby you used to have the home sciences, used to have the art and crafts, used to have agriculture, you know. Is there a leave we would have bought from the earlier system of 844 that would have assisted our children in the current setup to be able to prepare them for the way we are living right now?
I wouldn't say there is, by the way, because whatever has come up with under the CBC is more practical oriented. Actually, it's moving from academic, you know, cognitive knowledge into practical orientation. CBC is geared towards the issue of getting skills and competencies. That's why it's competency-based curriculum. So, and even the assessment is competency-based assessment. So when you look at the various education systems that we have had in Kenya, especially since independence, whatever the objectives were. Initially, when we had the Omide Commission, the Omide Commission was actually, when they came up, Omide and his commission, they said that we need to train Africans who are going to take over from the whites who are there. And therefore, that in itself geared our education system towards academic orientation, because you realize during the colonial period, the African mainly were being trained to become workers in white man's farms and so on. So I think the national leaders who are there were now preparing people who will take over, you know, especially especially the white-collar jobs. But along the way, the system in the Mackey Commission of 1982 came and said that our education system is actually a bit too exam-oriented. We need to go towards practical orientation.
Yes.
And that is what brought up the 844. But when the 844, and I have studied 844 as a teacher and a trainer of teachers, I had no alternative. I have studied the 844, and on paper, I can tell you it was a very good system.
Correct.
That was proposed. That is why I think people started practical orientation in primary school, especially in primary school. But again, the implementation was too much politically oriented, such that if those of us who were there, we remember the politicians simply going around and saying, tujenge madarasa ya nane. It's as if the class, building the class in and by itself was the solution. So the children came in, there was no piloting of that system to see, is it going to be viable or not? And then when it was implemented, what happens is that, again, there was an outcry from the parents that this system is too demanding on the child.
The
844 system was too demanding, because you remember, like in primary school, they were doing something to do with 9 subjects.
Yes.
Yeah.
In secondary school, they were doing 13 subjects, which were examinable. And when they looked at that, they said it's too much. And again, because it was badly, the implementation was too fast. What happened is that, like, I was teaching chemistry, and you realize that the former A-level chemistry was brought into O-level. The former mathematics, the type of mathematics, maths chemistry teacher, the mathematics that was there in A-level was again incorporated with what used to be there in O-level. And until teachers could not actually complete the syllabus. So despite the fact that it was meant to be exam-oriented, it again became a burden on the children. Now, the worst bit of it is that the middle class, as people who are workers and so on, are the ones who actually control, somehow in a way, the policies in this country. And what happened is that now people when there was an outcry, they said reduce the subjects. And of all things, Kenya being an agricultural-based economy, I have not yet understood how the policymakers came up with the idea, we leave 2 examinable languages, Kiswahili and English, but we remove agriculture, we remove business studies. And at that particular time, I want to remind you, until the time of Mwai Kibaki, the transition rate to secondary school was 47%.
47%.
47%. So the vast majority of the pupils who were in primary school, they were not transiting to secondary school. So where were they going? They were going to become, in the village, back in the village doing farming.
Yes.
And they were going back to the village, maybe selling, becoming hawkers and so on. And we have refused to equip them with skills that were going to help them do whatever they were doing
in the village.
So that is why I would say that the 844 education system, on paper, it was very good. The implementation was horrible, and I say that deliberately. The implementation was very, very bad. And now, again, the policymakers came as a result of the cries that were there. And again, the sorting out was political. So, should we have borrowed something from the 844? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that we should go practical. No, because, again, we should not go to an extent where we end up overburdening our children. And again, there was no time to play. And there is a lot that children learn through play.
Yes. Wilkinster, we're looking at that. If comparing what you have right now, or maybe you can be able to check if the 844 system had something that you can be able to implement today, or maybe a lift off to be able to grab from there.
Yeah, I'll go the yes way to a certain extent because I'm a beneficiary of the 844 system, unlike Mwalimu. And I did home science, I did business education, and I'm actually a trained business studies teacher.
All right.
And so I used to enjoy, and we did a lot of things at that level. But like Mwalimu says, a lot needed to have been done in terms of proper implementation, because like I did 9 subjects and then 13 subjects in high school, so there was no specialization, in terms of even understanding the interest and the passion and the talent that our children have. And how I wish it could have been that way, because perhaps we could have generated people who could do well in agriculture to enhance our agricultural economy, people who do well perhaps in matters woodwork, metalwork, and such kind of things. So to that extent, I feel we could have borrowed a leaf, but maybe CBC is coming to enhance implementation so that we end up with a better economy moving forward.
And Mwalimu has talked about the way we did away with agriculture and as an option, maybe subject. And I remember even those times, even the teachers themselves in that system used to demonize agriculture. And others could say, hey, you know, unakataa kusoma ndio uende ukalime. So even in the minds of our children, they really didn't find agriculture as an option. Right now, we are trying to look at, as you had said, that today we are more of exam-oriented society, or to our children, that you just pass exams and then you go on. We have the issue of the CBC, which is coming to impact more skills to our peoples. And the same thing is slowly being implemented in our tertiary institutions with a program that is called the CDAC, whereby the government is pushing the institutions to be able to impact more skills to our youth. And that's why you see courses like electrical, plumbing, even tailoring, hospitality. They are getting more students because they want skills. Now, Mwalimu, I'm trying to see a disconnect between the CBC and our tertiary institutions. We are working so much on CBC to be able to help them to get skills. In our tertiary institutions, we are also doing the same. But also, this group that is in between, the high school, no one is talking about them. So if someone comes from primary school with some skills and then comes to high school whereby they are exams oriented and then goes to colleges, whereby they are trying to move towards skills, don't you see there is a much disconnect there, Mwalimu?
I think one of the things that need to be done or needed to have been done when it comes to implementation of the CBC. CBC, again, on paper, anybody who has actually read on it, on paper is a very good system. In fact, to me, it's far superior than the 844. And I'm saying from a point of knowledge. But again, the problem that we have is, once again, the problem of implementation. Number one, the parents of these children went through a totally different system where the exams was the panacea to everything.
Yes.
The teachers themselves, who are now currently teaching in those primary schools or in secondary schools, went through mainly the 844. There are very few people who went through the former system and they're still there. They're very few, because I myself, I was amongst those people, and now we are on our way on retirement. But what we are saying is that the education, they have gone through they themselves went through exam-oriented systems. Throughout their career, they have actually been implementing, and what Wilkester is saying is true. There are some schools which do not even teach especially the last term of the school. You hear even complete the syllabus by March, so that from March now, from the month of March to actually November, all you're doing is drilling children to pass an exam.
Very dangerous.
Okay, so the people have had that. Teachers themselves, there is the issue of for you to go for interviews, you have to go with the grades of the students, you know, they analyze the results.
Yes.
You know, so even the teachers themselves want pupils who are getting high grades. What do? They drill them. So we have come from, both the parents and the teachers are coming from a system which is exam oriented, and now the CBC is dealing with the issues of competencies, in terms of skills, in terms of values, in terms of knowledge. Now, when you come to that, there is the disconnect actually does not start in secondary school. It starts in primary school. And that is why you are finding the implementation in primary school. A child is being told, go and print this. To the best of my understanding of CBC, they are not supposed to go and use things that they are going to purchase out there. They are supposed to use things within their environment. You know, there is a lot of improvisation which is supposed to be going on. It is what there is locally available. You cannot tell a child in Ronyangarani, in Turkana, to go and print this. You know, go and take photographs of Sijui what and then bring.
And
so that means, therefore, that the implementation right from the teacher's level is wrong. Number two, in secondary schools, we should have had proper training of these teachers, as you have rightly said. so that when they are coming from primary school, whereby they have been exposed to, competency-based curriculum,
Yes.
now, and practicals and so on, when they come to secondary school, the teacher is prepared enough mentally, that this child, I'm not taking them through this system of 844.
Yeah.
This is a child who is supposed to be doing more of exam orientation. But the question is this, right now, the class 6 are doing their national exams.
Yeah.
They are supposed, ideally, to be proceeding to junior secondary. How many teachers have been prepared to handle those pupils?
That is a big question.
And I can tell you, I would say none. I know there are some people who are being called CBC champions, who have been taken by the NGOs, to go and be trained.
Yes.
But what has been the input of the government in preparing this teacher to implement the new curriculum? And I can tell you there is very little. When it comes to the tertiary, whatever you are saying is that there's not really a disconnect. What has been happening in tertiary is this. The pupils the students who do KCSE or even KCPE and are not able, especially KCSE, and are not able to go to the university, those who don't score C+ and above, they end up going to TVET institutions.
Yes.
TVET, and I have been a trainer in TVET. I taught in Rift Valley Institute for Science and Technology for 7 years, and I can say the TVET education system is, or rather, in TVET, it is practical orientation.
Yeah.
So that has not been there because of CBC. It has been there because of basic orientation of TVET. It is practical oriented. So that means, therefore, even those ones need also to be prepared. How do you handle this child also who has gone through this system? Even there, we don't have. Okay, I believe that in TVET institutions will not have much of a challenge.
Yes.
But where I think we are going to have a huge challenge is our universities.
True.
The secondary school teachers have not been prepared. The university lecturers, in
They
fact,
are not either prepared.
the system in the universities, and in Kista, or even any viewer who has actually been there in the university will know, the most popular lecturers, and I've been teaching in university, some part-time courses, I know, the most popular lecturer is the one who doesn't attend class, but goes with the notes and gives the students the notes, then sets the cards from his worked examples, the cards and the exams from the worked examples. That is a very popular lecturer because students are there to pass. They are not there to get the knowledge. It is just to look at those examples and they go and
do them.
reproduce them on paper and they pass. They are interested with grades, not knowledge.
Yeah.
That is why when you find our students coming from the university, they can hardly do anything.
But as much as you respond to that, in Kinsta, regarding the disconnect, I want to pick from where Mwalimu has said, because we all know that we are having a challenge in our universities. What will we do? Or we just leave it at that? Autopilot. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. I think we are about to experience some shocks. And I think we are a country which is used to shocks. Personally, by the time I was graduating, the syllabus was changed without our knowledge. And I was trained to teach business studies, economics, accounting, and commerce. That is how we transited from high school to the university. So we went to the university to be trained to teach these subjects. So I went the first year, the second year, the third year. Fourth year, all of a sudden, the syllabus was changed, and the components were merged to be one as business studies. The students are usually prepared to teach 2 subjects. Now, all of a sudden, it's the last year, we are graduating and have only 1 subject to teach. And we are being released to the market. So we're like, no, what do we do? So in our engagement interaction, because we were very few doing education economics, we were told, go to talk to the TSC. And we did, because now the ministry was not even ready to listen to us. So going to the TSC, we were advised, go back to school. Which school are you going back to?
Yeah.
Where is the money? You're coming from a very poor background. Where to begin? So it was so frustrating for us who did economics at that time, 1990, it was 2003. So that is why some of us left education. And here we are doing other things, because now we could not be able to afford to go back to school to do the extra subject.
Yeah. Kindly hold there, and we want to have a short break, and then we'll come and finalize on the same issue on the mid-morning park. We will be right back.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Mwili wako unakuwa na diastemas ngapi?
Diastemas kama 7 hivi.
7.
7 hivi.
Zinapatikana wapi na wapi?
Moja inapatikana kwa brain, nyingine iko huku kwa magoti, alafu moja iko kwa mbavu na hapa chini.
Tuachane pale. Ile diastema yako ambayo iko kwa akili inafanya kazi gani?
Diastema iko kwa akili ni ya kukumbuka watu wenye wako kwa contact list yangu, na ingine ni ya kukumbuka pesa niko nayo kwa simu.
Na ile diastema iko kwa magoti kazi yake ni?
Kwa magoti na kunisaidia kukimbia mbio.
If you don't get out of here, I will slap you.
Nitajie aina 5 ya maneno ya Kiswahili.
Ya Kiswahili kuna punda, paka, ng'ombe.
Nitajie aina 5 ya maneno ya Kiswahili.
Sielewi, niko, sikuagi lakini nakuaga bado.
Hey, Sule.
Baby walk Kiswahili inaitwaje?
Kutembea na pombe.
For this is the word of promise. At this time I will come. Romans chapter 9 verses 9. Welcome to the Kairos Youth Conference 2022, where we'll be equipped for revival starting from Monday 28th November to Friday 2nd December, hosted by Apostle John Kemani William. Guest ministers will be Reverend Naomi Kemani, Bishop Jim Mwando, Pastor T. Mwangi, Reverend Evans Chumo, and Mr. Gedenji Njogu. Guest music ministers will be Shane Ala. You are good forever you are. And Shayla Juma. The venue will be Kingdom Seekers Fellowship Faith Chapel from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. daily. It will also be live on Facebook at Kingdom Seekers Fellowship Youth. It's an interdenominational meeting, free and open to all.
Ulisa,
nimekuwa nikitafuta mbuzi ya Christmas.
Shika hapa kwanza nikueleze. Ninaona ikienda kwa Finance Property Limited. Ikinunua shamba inafatua Christmas mbili.
Si nifanye hivi. Masai, peleke kwa watu wa ofisi. Ingia huko. Ingia kwa ile mlango. Hapana Masai. Ingilia ile mlango. Hapana, hii ni dereva. Ingia kwa ile gari.
Huko kulima sila mfuga. Siko iliona ngisho sangu pale sisi niacha. Kitu ya pili, magware siko. Kitu ya tatu, inaweza kulima nyuki. Iko wash kwa avocado inapeleka kwa ng'ambo.
Na niulize Masai, nikitaka kuchimbua maji itatoa wapi?
Kwanza ni hiyo inasema inaweza kuchimba. Ya pili iko project. Na ya tatu huko ananyesha.
Finance Properties now brings you special offers on plots at Gilgil near Weybridge. 50 by 100 plots going for 199,000 shillings. Pay 30% deposit and balance in 6 months. For our Christmas offers, pay 100,000 shillings deposit within December to get 2 mbusis. All title deeds are inclusive. Special package for chamas are available. For more information, visit our Nakuru offices at Kenyatta Avenue, Belpa House, first floor, room 3 above Cedian Bank, or call 0724 111 110. Finance Properties, validating your dreams.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Yes, welcome back to our mid-morning park, and today we are talking about various issues. With us we have Michael Geshohi, who is here as a trained teacher and also a leadership consultant. Then we have Wilkinster Akinyi, who is from civil society. And today I'm asking you, what development program would you want to see established in your county? That is our question, because we shall be talking about this later on. What development programs would you want to be established in your county? Talk to us via SMS number 23814, even our WhatsApp number 0721 105 105. I want to come back to Winkinster. We were talking about the curriculum. Now, I want to pick from where you stopped, and then we finalize this matter.
Thank you, Paul. So my concern was the level of preparedness
Yes.
of our government and the curriculum developers and curriculum implementers. And I'm so worried that our grade 6 children are transiting, and yet we are not really prepared as a nation in terms of absorbing them, keeping them, taking them through, and continuing to implement the same curriculum that we are all watching for, and the level of transition again to tertiary. So I foresee a situation whereby, especially now that we are piloting, there's a category or a group of students already going to have it rough. Because now we have grade 6, and then they're coming to high school. These high school students who are transiting to technical institutions where they're supposed to get skills
Yes.
may not be interested because they're not prepared to embrace the competency-based curriculum. So they're used to 844, especially those who are currently sitting for Form 4. We've not interested them to believe in technical skills. They're all looking forward to join university, which is more or less theoretical. So our university institutions are not prepared in terms of CBC, for that matter. But again, we are not doing so much to interest our students to join the tertiary institution. So I think there's need for an honest conversation within the education sector and other stakeholders to see to it that it's harmony in terms of that transition. Yeah.
All right, thank you so very much. And Mwalimu, now we can check on the issue of the grade 6 transition. And the parents are very much confused because there's no clear picture, there's no clear method, they don't know what to do. 2 months, the opening of schools, and what they know according to the proposed program right now, they are going to junior secondary school, which is they're going to be mixed with the other high school, which already, you know, Magoha was very instrumental in making sure that we have those secondary schools. How do you see the transition of this junior high school?
Thank you, Paul. Maybe before I mention, I go to that. Allow me to say that because we are talking about the national exams,
yes.
Allow me to say that all parents and stakeholders need to know, every Kenyan needs to know, that the national exam that is being set for by grade 6, it will only account for 40% of their final mark.
The standard 8?
The grade 6.
Yes.
Grade 6, the exam that they are doing currently, even this morning, will only account for 40%.
Oh, I get you.
It will not, like, unlike the 844, unlike the KCPE candidates, the KCPE, it will be 100%. But these pupils were assessed, what we call school-based assessment, in grade 3. They were assessed in grade 4. They were assessed in grade 5. Now in grade 6, they go and now do the national exam. And it will only account for 40%. That's something moving away from everything depends on this last summative exam.
Yeah.
Now, concerning its transition, I think that we are terribly ill prepared. If this, of course, there is no clarity on whether they are going to proceed to secondary school,
yes,
or they are going to remain in primary school. And the president, it has already been said that the president will soon give a report of the committee that went around collecting the views of Kenyans, and a decision will be made. But from where I see it, and as a teacher, I would say my personal view is that those grade 6 should proceed to grade 7 in primary school.
They proceed into grade 7?
Of course, they are proceeding to grade 7. We are moving from standard 6, standard 7. We are going to grade. And even in secondary school, it will be called grade 10, 11, and 12. But I would think that, to me, from where I sit, they should proceed to grade 7. Why? In secondary schools, and I have been not only a teacher but an administrator in secondary schools.
Yes.
I can tell you that there is no space to start with. There are no classes, there are no dorms. Why? Because in the first place,
class 8, when they do KCPE, they themselves, we are supposed to have 100% transition to secondary school. Then so the spaces that have been left by the current Form 4s will be occupied by the ones who are doing KCPE right now.
Correct.
So the 1 or 2 classes that have been built in schools through, the ministry has facilitated the building, that. I am a member of Parents Association in a school where it is 6 streams, but the government has built 2 classes.
For the junior secondary?
For the junior secondary. The question is this. Since there are even more than those ones in class 8, where will the 4 other classes be accommodated?
Oh.
And the dorms have not been expanded. So to me, I think we should be able to be moving from, and if anything, the class 8 are leaving a class.
Yeah.
There is already a class in primary school. Every primary school has that class. So in terms of infrastructure, they would fit better in primary school. So they proceed in that primary school, but now they proceed to grade 7. And that is why some people have proposed that instead of calling it junior secondary, we call it intermediate school or something, middle school. Or we look for another.
But before, as you continue, do you feel it was wise for the junior high school to be mixed with the upper high school?
That is why I was also, that was going to be my second reason.
Oh.
You bring in, whether it is a boarding or a day school, you bring in a 12, 13-year-old, and you're mixing with them with the 17, 18, 19-year-olds. These are, in their adolescence, these are actually basically starting. When they are starting, their body morphology, especially the girls, have changed.
Yes.
And now you are starting to mix them with these older, much older girls, those, or boys in the same school, with all the challenges of adolescence that are normally there. And now you are mixing them in that school. Whether it is a day school, they will be moving in the same vehicles, or they will be walking to school together.
Yeah.
Or I think, I don't know whether we are prepared for the social repercussions that might be there. Have we equipped the teachers also to prepare these peoples for, to face the challenges? Especially the young ones.
Even some, they don't know how even to stand by their own.
But by the way, if we were to talk about even, for example, the biology of the girls, some of them have not even started their periods.
Yeah.
By that age, some of them have not. So you in primary school, somehow the primary school teachers are able to kind of bring them to educate them very well and handle them very well. Now they are coming to people all of a sudden where they have started somewhere, they've come, and the first times they start spotting their dresses. And how do you handle that with, I think in my view, we have not prepared adequately for CBC implementation in junior secondary school. And therefore, if I was to be asked, I would say let the junior secondary school be domiciled in secondary school, in primary schools. I know I was an official. I was a chairman of COPET in Nakuru County. And I know COPET has actually pronounced itself and said they want the junior secondary school to be in secondary schools. And all those unions, what they are doing is that they are fighting for the numbers of teachers. Because if these ones here will be having, it will be domiciled in secondary school, the number of teachers in secondary school will increase. And therefore, the union will have more membership, and it will translate to more money and more power. We need to move away from that.
Yes.
We need to look into the future of our nation, the future of our children.
Yeah.
And that is why, personally, my recommendation would be, I don't know what the president is going to say, let it be domiciled in primary school.
Correct. Right. We are asking you, dear viewer, as we continue, what development program would you want to see established in your county? Because we shall be talking about this issue later on. What development program would you want to see established in your county? Our SMS number 23814, even WhatsApp number is here. That is 0721-105. Winkista, I think you can finalize on that before we close over to another issue.
Thank you, Paul. I would like to weigh in to that matter. And the challenge that we had to experience with that transition, the grade 6 transition to high school, is similar to what we're experiencing with ECD, because most ECD centers are domiciled in primary schools in terms of infrastructure, and more specifically in terms of sanitation. we've seen children saying nasty things because they use the same citation blocks that class 6, 7, and 8 are using. And so children have been affected, mentally speaking. So what I yet to see in high school is that now these are, in fact, in Mwalimu, they are 10 years. They're not even 12 years. They're 10-year-old. Medically speaking, we say they've begun adolescence, but not as such. So these children are joining high school where, from a parent's point of view, only one classroom has been constructed in those schools. For example, where my girl goes to school, it's a national school, a very big school. The school was intended to accommodate 500 Form 1s by the time they were joining. 500 students, those who qualified and were called and admitted. By the time we are going for orientation, because of 100% transition, we had 800 girls from the locality. This is a national school. You can imagine. Those who came in as Form 1 this year were 1,200. That's a girls' school. It has forced the institution to come up with a makeshift dormitory. They no longer have a dining hall because the dining hall has been converted to a dormitory. Now, and the other girls, especially the Form 2s who are in that school, now they connected some buildings which are closer to each other, put over a roof, and made it a dormitory. It's a very cold space to sleep in. Is that what you want our children to go through? Now we are talking about grade 6 transiting to the same school where no more dormitory has been constructed. There is no more toilet that has been constructed. In fact, the school complains about overflow of sewage every now and again, which is a health hazard to that school. There's no more, only one classroom has been constructed in that school. So where are we taking our children to? Where are they going? Yeah? If you're talking about 100% transition, and these other ones are coming. So I feel there's more need to be done. In my opinion, I will support Mwalimu. Let them remain where they are at the moment. We've been complaining about staffing, shortage of teachers in school. So which teacher is transiting with the grade 6 to junior school, so to speak? And are we prepared, the teachers in high school, to take over the grade 6 as junior students? I mean, in my opinion, much needs to be done. Yeah.
Actually, Paul, we need to have a deliberate action in terms of investing in infrastructure in our schools, right from primary school to secondary schools.
Yes.
And this time should not be infrastructure the type that we have seen in CBC classes. Any person who has seen those classes would understand what I'm talking about. You find a school where every other building is a storied building. But this one here they come and put some infrastructure somewhere because the government only provided 900,000 shillings for the construction of that class. Even the foundation would not alone, that money would go to the foundation alone for a storied building. So I think we need to be more deliberate. Secondly, concerning what Wilkista has said, the government is promising to employ 30,000, I think 38,000 teachers by January.
Yes.
But remember, these teachers, when they are employed, immediately they are employed, they have not been prepared to implement the CBC.
True.
So that means, therefore, that we need them to have been there, be prepared adequately, and then they can be able to implement that. So I think we need more deliberate action.
Maybe as you're waiting for the report, I heard as if it is going to be given to the president this Friday. Let's hope they're going to give good recommendations because they come from Kenyans. Yeah. And now because we have started the CBC, it seems as if there is no point of turning back.
Yeah, of course, there is not a turning back.
Yeah.
But there is the method of implementation and how it is implemented is critical. And that is why we ourselves here, we are suggesting, and I'm sure that so many other Kenyans suggested, let the junior secondary be domiciled in the primary schools.
All right.
At the moment.
Yes.
and probably, thank you, even for saying at the moment, because they can actually be there for 2 years. Within those 2 years, the government takes deliberate action to put a proper and adequate infrastructure in secondary schools. Yes. And then in their final year of junior secondary, they transit to secondary school.
Secondary school. Yeah. All right. If you are watching us, here is MBCI TV. The program is called The Mid-Morning Park. And we were talking about the issue of academic in our country. And now we want to shift gear to another matter, the issue of the Hustlers Fund. And I believe many people are very keen to see how the launch of the Hustlers Fund is going to happen. And many are expecting it's going to boost their economic status, especially for the small micro enterprises. Mama Mboga, Boda Boda, I believe they are very much optimistic on how the Hustlers Fund is going to improve in their economic, right? But as we continue, we will also be talking about the issue of development in our countries. What development program would you want to see established in your county? If you're given an opportunity, what kind of development would you suggest to be introduced in your county? You can talk to us here, 23814, our SMS number, and 0721 and 105. Now, we are expecting the launch of the Hustlers Fund, which has really drawn the attention and anxiety among Kenyans, especially for the low class, the so-called the hustlers. And I believe the launch is going to bring relief and maybe a new avenue to the hustlers in this nation. And I want to start with Wilkista Akinyi. I know you have been following this fund since times of the campaign, and of course maybe what has been brought forward by the president and his team. And as we launch this Hustlers Fund, what are your expectations?
Thank you, Paul. I would like to make reference to Article 10 of the Constitution that speaks about that as a nation, we exist to address matters in equality and inclusivity. And this fund and many others come in handy to address those matters so that we bring everybody up to speed. It's about leaving no one behind as per our laws. And the first question that comes to my mind is, what about the other existing funds?
Yes.
How different is this fund from the Youth Fund? Youth Empowerment Fund?
Yes.
We've had Women Enterprise Fund, and we also have the Uwezo Fund. How different is it? And I've not had any conversation that tries to clarify the future of these funds. And by the time we're coming to elections, there was a conversation around Biashara Fund. Such a way that these three funds, the Women Empowerment Fund, the Youth Empowerment Fund, and the Uwezo Fund, was expected to be merged into one and called Biashara Fund. Now elections came, and even before elections, there were campaign promises that there's going to be Hustlers Fund. So my question is, how different is this Hustlers Fund from the proposed Biashara Fund? It's a good thing, but there's need for clarity and communication in terms of that transition, if at all it's going to be there, and how people are expected to access it.
Where do you have some queries regarding the fund? Assuming now it is going to be launched by the president, it starts kicking off, and where do you have some queries and some suspicion?
Okay. Number one, during campaign, there were promises that this fund will be a free fund, that people will easily access it at their own peril. And now there's another conversation that for you to access this fund, there's need to pay around 2,000 shillings. The government is yet to clarify. So we are asking, this 2,000 shillings, is it going to promote equality or promote inequality among the hustles, so to speak? How many people, as you speak right now, are able to afford the 2,000 shillings? They call it administration fee.
Administration fee.
And again, now how much then are they able to qualify to get? And they said that this money is going to be an online, or to be accessed online. So how many Kenyans and the hustlers, so to speak, have access to online platforms and will benefit from this fund? So our main concern is accessibility to the fund. And again, they say they're going to launch that fund maybe today or tomorrow. Over the last 2 weeks, I've seen some forums, public participation forums, on the same fund. But I have not heard of it here in Nakuru. I don't know, Mwalimu, whether you come across such kind of a forum, where people are expected to raise issues and concerns and ask relevant questions regarding the fund. So in my opinion, we are very fast in coming in handy to implement the fund, but there's so many questions that people are still asking that may inhibit the actual implementation and the benefit that people are yet to get upon implementation of this particular fund.
Maybe before you come to Mwalimu, what were some challenges maybe you pointed out in regarding to the Uwezo Fund and Women Fund? What were some of the issues that you pointed out that it didn't work very well with the women and young people?
Thank you, Paul. I think to begin with, when it comes to Youth Empowerment Fund, this fund over years according to the Auditor General's report, there was low uptake of that fund by the young people, because it was believed that young people believe in getting rich so quick, and they're not properly organized. We were not able to address that matter as a nation. So here we have the Hustlers Fund. The same young people are being targeted by this Hustlers Fund. So if we had a problem with the uptake of Youth Empowerment Fund, what will happen when it comes to the Hustlers Fund? So we believe, again, there's need to bring, to have a conversation with the young people, to empower them and to make them believe that this is not a fund for individuals, number one. This is a fund for economic empowerment. They said now this is a fund that is repairable. This is how it is repairable. This is what we need to do. Because most of our young people, given the current emerging issues, socially and economically, are not ready for such kind of funds, so to speak. So we needed to have empowered them with requisite knowledge and skills to be able to take this fund so that it's meaningful to their lives.
Yeah, and I think, Mwalimu, one of the things that I have observed is that young people, they fear taking loans because they think that if you take a loan, you have difficulty in paying, and then people are going to look for you, blah, blah, blah. Maybe. What's your expectations regarding the Hustlers Fund?
I don't want to sound very pessimistic, but based on a number of factors in the past on the funds that we have had, as Wilkista said, whether it is Women Empowerment Fund or the Youth Fund or Ways of Fund, or money that was set aside for the aged, or for the people living with disabilities. You realize all those funds, even when it is free, like the one for the aged and people living with disabilities. And in my family, we have people who registered for both. We have one of my nephews, a person living with a disability, autistic and so on. Initially, when it came to implementation, we'd be given the 2,000 shillings per month. Then it went to 2,000 shillings after 2 months. Then 2,000 shillings after 6 months. And I don't know whether they are still receiving anything. You know, the same case applies to the one for the aged. We are very quick in with the people saying that we have this fund, we have this fund, but the only people that it has been benefiting are the people who are supposed to be administrators. You remember there are some times back when we had even the leaders in Youth Fund being taken to court because of misappropriation of those funds. So I without adequate, sufficient public participation and without empowerment of the young people to uptake these funds, without, you know, because this is not money, since it's repairable, it's not money that you're going to get to go and buy yourself a suit. It is money that you get to go and invest. And again, when you look at the amounts, most of our young people these days, especially young men, have been absorbed in e-boda boda so much. I wish it was said that we'll give you this fund to go and buy the boda boda, you know, not even if not the full amount, at least some kind of seed money. And then the rest unajiendeleza wewe mwenyewe. But now is come and take. You know, the fund is here, come and take. The question is what Wilkista has said. Have we adequately, sufficiently empowered them to come and take up that fund? And since it will have a board to run, since it will have some people who will be implementing this fund, I can tell you, from where I see it's just a creation of jobs for some people up there. I'm sorry to say I sound so pessimistic, but to me, I am yet to get fully persuaded that it is going to be the economic kind of new thing that we wanted to have, and it's going to uplift the lives of so many people. And we can have this conversation 1 year on.
Just to add on, Mwalimu.
Yes.
People are not aware whether this is a grant or a revolving fund. Because if it's a revolving fund, it should be repaid. You take it and then you pay, and others are able to benefit from it. I'm a beneficiary of Wezo Fund in a group that I am with women. And we take and pay like that. And people are able to see how we benefit, but not as much as you would have expected, so to speak. So, as we speak, at the community level, people are like, tunangojea Hustlers Fund. Ni pesa yetu. So they know they're going to get it, you know, you access it through online, pesa unatumiwa, and there you are, and good to go. Nobody is talking about repayment. of this money for
Yeah.
the benefit of others. So I feel that a lot of education needed to have been conducted to the and awareness to the public for a proper understanding on how this fund works and who should benefit, and even the procedure for accessing the fund, the criteria for accessing the fund is not yet known. So we are rushing to launch it, but the procedures, the criteria, the access, the conditions are not, nobody knows about them. It's not very clear.
Yeah.
And when something is shrouded with a lot of kind of lack of information, people are bound to speculate. When there is no adequate information, people speculate. And number two, the possibility of abuse
is very high.
Is very, very high.
Yeah.
The possibility of abuse is very high for such a thing. So, and again, I don't think we should be simply to be seen to be implementing the political promises of the campaigns. I don't think we should necessarily rush. It's not in itself is not a bad thing. As Winkista has said, this one here, comes under Article 10 of the Constitution, and therefore it's a good thing. It's something that is positive. But let's implement these programs in Kenya in a systematic, strategic manner.
Yes.
Because what are the strategies that we are laying for this? What is the systems? What are the processes? That are there, so that we can be able to know if it's a revolving fund. And from my understanding now, it is a revolving fund. During the campaigns, it was said it is free. Now it is being said that where's pesa ya serikali bure, and then there is an interest that you're going to pay.
Yes.
There is need for clarity. There is need for and just like we were saying with the education system, when things, I think the politics should actually only be involved when we are coming to policies. When it comes to implementation, give this idea to the economists.
They look at it. And I think, as you were saying, during the campaigns, the way people understood, even personally, is that, as you were saying, this money was, everybody knew this money was to be given for free to uplift your economic status, especially for business people. And I remember one day I was traveling through a matatu, and in that matatu, there are women who were there and were talking about the Hustlers Fund. They were excited, and they were saying, wow, it's time now to get rich, you see? Because in their mind, because the way I understood from that point, the fund is whereby you're going to, the fund is going to be brought in the village, and then you are going to go there, you're going to get your share, you take it to your business. And I think that is why the president was quick to remind Kenyans, hakuna pesa ya bure ya serikali. There's no free money.
But you can't blame those people. Because the way it was put is that because people are borrowing so much from these mobile, through, how do I put it? The lenders online, or through mobile phones. So many people are being listed in CRB as a result of lack of that payment of 1,000 shillings, 2,000. Said this hustler fund is going to come so that instead of borrowing, and again, of course, there is a very high interest rate that is paid when people are borrowing through those online, whatever. So it was said, instead of now borrowing that, you will borrow money that you just simply return what you borrowed. That is how it was put. So you cannot blame them by them thinking that this is money that was going to come to them. But we, even as it is being launched, I think the only people who have adequate information is the people who will be running it. Probably they have adequate information.
Of course they have. When they are launching it, we are going to get the full information.
Can I add something on that, Paul, if you allow me?
Yes.
We have a problem already as Nakuru County. I think 10 years ago, we started a conversation on Persons with Disability Fund. And the Persons with Disability in Nakuru County had a lot of expectation. So the money was allocated in the budget. It was there, around 55 million shillings. And people really waited for this money. For the county? For the county. So targeting persons with disability. Remember, we did not have the data or neither the statistics to inform disbursement of this particular fund. So for 5 years, the persons with disability used to complain, "Hii pesa iko wapi?" Then after 5 years, there was a conversation now that the Controller of Budgets has refused disbursement of this fund because there are no proper regulations at the county level because that, of course, is informed by the Public Finance Management Act.
Yeah.
After 5 years, again, this money was reduced to 27.5 million. Yeah. So here we are. There was a conversation now. This money was supposed to go to the ward level. Actually, it was 55 million, and we have 55 counties in the ward. So it was expected that every ward will get 1 million Kenya shillings, targeting persons with disability.
Yes.
We did not know how many persons with disability will benefit from that money. So because of that confusion again, because now even we have the county persons with disability fund bill, which is not very clear and almost going through some amendment. So lack of that clarity forced the county government now to change the disbursement method of that fund. So instead of disbursing cash, because that is what people expected, like people are expecting the Hustlers Fund, they now resulted into buying assistive devices for persons with disability. So there's a lot of outcry because even that one, most people are not benefiting from it. In fact, they're asking, who told you I need earring gadgets?
Yeah.
Who told you I need a wheelchair? I have it. Who told you I don't have crutches? You know, such kind of complaints. And coming back to the Hustlers Fund now, I'm just asking myself, because this money is supposed to be budgeted for.
True.
It should come to the national budget. You know, we should see it there. What happens to the other funds that we've talked about? Where are they? And what percentage of Hustle Fund should we expect in the budget? Because if it's not budgeted for, then how will it be implemented?
Very true. Right. Yes, and I think maybe as they are going to launch it, we are going to see...
And I don't think the supplementary budget has actually been taken to Parliament. So that's why we are saying it's surrounded with a lot of lack of information, because it cannot be implemented unless it is in the supplementary budget.
Yeah, but if it is well formulated, well thought, well planned, you know, looking at the issues of law, I think it is a good
regulations,
idea, because many people who are being affected by the issues of economy, they are the hustlers, right? If you can be able to empower them economically, the SMEs, you know, I think country can propel very well in terms of economic. If you can empower that person who is right there on the ground, I think we can really help our economy so very much.
Can I suggest something here?
Yes.
When you look at all those things, if we really want to help that boda, that mama boga, and I think there is a way in which that person and every other person would be able to benefit. Simply lower our taxes. Because what they are earning will be more useful. They would be able, their purchasing power, their disposable income would actually increase by simply lowering the taxes.
Very correct.
So instead of now saying that you're dispersing this money shrouded with a lot of mystery, why don't we simply lower our taxes, especially on foodstuffs? Why don't we zero rate foodstuffs? Such that the cost of living goes down. And this mama mboga, that boda fellow, if for example there was the lowering of taxes of petroleum products, petrol, even petrol itself, just petrol, that boda person will have what he's taking home to his family would actually definitely increase, automatically increase.
Very true.
Instead of now looking for, and that one will not have to have some infrastructure, it will not have to have officers over it and so on. It is the same KRA, it is the same central bank, it is what we have there. Can we use that? Instead of us creating so many funds that are shrouded with a lot of mysteries.
Yeah.
If I can just make a joke out of it, kidogo, if you allow me. We're likely to see a situation whereby, if it's online, as they say, people will log in, most people will get that money, maybe 500, 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000. There's a likelihood, because of the high cost of living, the repayment rate will be very low.
Yeah.
So what will happen is that if you get 1,000 or 2,000, if you don't repay, next time you ask for it, you'll not get it. So there will be an answer like, if you cannot be trusted with a little, you cannot be trusted with a much. So moving forward, I see if you don't take necessary measures, it will just be a failure. Yeah. And the same thing that is likely to happen is like what happens with bursary. If you consider what happens with the bursary allocation and disbursement, usually, the way it used to be, people get 2,000, 3,000. This is a student who is expected to pay 10,000 shillings as school fees. You give her 2,000 shillings. Will it get to school? Or even 1,000. Will it get to school? They'll buy unga, namboga kula nyumbani.
Instead of school fees.
Instead of school fees.
All right, we come close to that as we move to the last item. And dear viewer, wherever you are, welcome to the Mid-Morning Park. We are here with Michael Gashohi, who is a retired teacher and also a leadership consultant. And then we have Wilkinster Akinyi, who is from the CGG, a civil society. My name is Paul Kagi, and today I'm asking you, what development program would you want to be established in your county? What development program would you want to be established in your county? You can talk to us via 23814. That is our SMS number, or 0721-105-105. That is our WhatsApp number. You can also talk to your friend. We are live on our FB, that is MBCI TV, and even our YouTube, MBCI TV official. Now, we want to talk about the development in our counties, and I believe wherever you are, you believe and you trust your governor and even the county assembly. They are going to create an avenue whereby you're going to receive development in your county. But I want to ask you a question. Have you ever thought about the development that you need in the county? Have we ever participated in a public forum to propose a development in your ward or even in your village? Do you know the proposed development in your county in this financial year? I don't know. Yes, but we want to talk about that issue through a program or a plan called the County Integrated Development Plan, CIDP, which is mandated to be able to look into that. But because I have some experts here from our counties, I want to take the first question to Wilkinster. There is someone there who is asking, what is this CIDP? Maybe would you mind to elaborate to us what is CIDP and what is it all about?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, viewer. CIDP, the County Integrated Development Plan, is a 5-year blueprint for the county. And every 5 years, from the onset of devolution, every county is expected to put together its priorities over the next 5 years. This is at the county level. At the national level, we call it the medium-term plan. So every 5 years, the national government puts together their priorities in terms of programs, and even to an extent some projects that will be implemented to address the needs and the issues that affect the people in terms of service delivery. So coming down to the county, every 5 years then, we need to sit together. Of course, the government does not stop. The government is a going concern. So we pick from what we've been able to do in the previous years, and then look at what challenges we went through as a county in terms of service delivery, and then moving forward, what do we intend to do so that we can be able to meet the needs of the people as per our legislations. So that's where we are at, and it's that moment where every county in the country has an opportunity to sit together and participatorily come together to identify the concerns of the people as far as service delivery is concerned, and then make proper decisions and wrap it up in the CIDP that we call it, and then in the next 5 years through the annual development plan, because CIDP is for 5 years. It's usually broken down now to ADP, the annual development plan. So whatever we had planned to do programmatically in 5 years, it's broken down to short-term projects and programs to be implemented until the 5-year has ended. And of course, it's tied to our politics, because every president that comes in has issues that we want to address, or to perhaps help the community to solve. And then at the county level, we have our governor's manifesto. So there are things that perhaps she promised or she prepared herself to address in our county. So that is why it's very important for the citizens of this country, the governor's manifestos notwithstanding, to come together and identify our concerns and make sure that they are incorporated in our CIDP, because that is what informs service delivery over the next 5 years.
So if the governor had promised something during the campaign, and now luckily he wins the election, he becomes the governor. So there's need to incorporate the promises by the governor, and now this forum for coming up with the development, they must be matched together to come up with one document. That is after election.
Yes or no? Now, like I said, the government is ongoing.
Yes.
The government programs go on, whether there's a governor or not. Whether there's a president or not, the government must continue. But the law provides that a governor's manifesto, the ideas that our governor had, is expected to be incorporated or should be incorporated in our CIDP. It is expected and assumed that the governor does not deviate so much, the governor's manifesto does not deviate so much from the priorities of the people. Because through public participation, it was expected that our governor would go around and collect the views of the people. That is why we voted for her. That is the assumption. But When it comes to the CIDP, yes, it's incorporated, but it must make sense as per the ongoing programs of the government.
So in simple terms, because maybe there's someone there maybe who was hearing about the CIDP for the first time, what is the, in a layman, what is the simpler way of maybe participating in the production of the CIDP?
Okay, thank you, Paul. Usually the government creates platforms for participation.
The government or the county?
The county government.
The county government
is expected to create platforms for engagement and participation as per the County Government Act. And that is where we come in handy as CSOs to promote the platforms for engagement and to create awareness to the community that the moment is here, you need to come out and air your views. So as we speak, in the County Government of Nakuru, a number of organizations through the County CSOs Forum has come out already to start mobilizing the community, to be able to organize themselves, identify their priorities, and even prepare a memorandum and submit to the relevant county authorities. So, but the government, as we speak right now, has already shared, do we call it a schedule of public participation?
Yes.
Running from next week on 5th to 9th, where the public is expected to come out and give their views at the ward level. So I think we'll share with you so that you can also share it, circulate it in our social media platforms so that the people can be able to mobilize themselves at the ward level and be able to share their views on what they want to be done or to be implemented at the ward level as far as service delivery is concerned. And again, the members of the county assembly, it is expected, because these are our representatives, that they go out there and preach the gospel that the moment of CIDP has come. Please, let's meet. Let's say, for example, I come from Flamingo Ward. Let us meet at Langa Langa. Let us sit as people from Flamingo Ward and identify our priorities. So at that level, they are picked by the executive, that is the County Department of Economic Planning, because they're the people in charge of developing the CIDP. So once we share our issues at the ward level, then we submit them to the Directorate of Economic Planning. Then the Directorate of Economic Planning is able to consolidate the issues across sectors for all the wards in the county, and then now put together in one document a CIDP. But the challenge is, how do we reach the farthest, the farthest location in our county, so that the person in Maela, the person in Kuresoi is able to understand that this process is going on. Please come out and air your views.
Before I invite Michael, I want you to pick from there. One more question. You have been participating in this issue of public participation for some years.
Yes.
What would you say? Do public come for these forums, or it is a big struggle, or what? Public participations in terms of maybe development proposals.
Yeah. Paul, we have come a long way. I would say that we're not where we were. In the first 5 years of devolution, it was a real struggle.
Yeah.
People would come out because we expected token from these forums, and it was more attached to political reasons. But because of the work that we've done as CSOs in Nakuru County, people are beginning to appreciate that as much as they have rights, they have responsibilities. So they're coming out, We're promoting that participation, and they're able to come out to give their views, but not as much as we would expect. And that is why moving forward, we'll want the county government to approve or to assent to the civic education bill, so that together with the county government, we can create much more awareness on the responsibility of the people and participation of the people in such processes. So we are not where we were, but we are not where we would want to be.
We are heading somewhere.
We are heading somewhere.
Michael, what is your take on all this?
One, I think that it is critical that the public gets to know and to have adequate information in as far as those public forums are concerned. You realize that sometimes even the leaders whom we have will only kind of inform the people who seems to be their supporters to come and support the idea that they have.
Yes.
Because they don't want somebody else who will come and upset the apple cart. They want to have somebody who will come and say, this is whatever you want to implement, yes sir, and congratulate them. In fact, anybody who has participated in some of these, and I'm sure Wilkista has done that, other than, say, for example, from the community-based organizations or the NGOs and so on, the majority of the people who come, general mwananchi who comes, he's not just every Jack, Dick, and Harry. There are people who are designated, go and say this. They even have a brief on what to say.
But I think going forward, that's why we need every citizens to be informed about the programs, development programs that are there. They need to participate in public participation forums, and they need to know that if, for example, in Ward A, whatever has been suggested is ABCD, and then we want XYZ, and the people there say that our priority is XYZ, and the people coming up with the CIDP actually have a responsibility to ensure that what the people have said is what is put as a priority.
Yes.
That's why it is very critical to come up with to participate. But again, the level of ignorance amongst our people, I'm sorry to say that, is like those public participation, they go to reason.
They go to reason.
Other than to suggest. We need people to know that when you are going there, you are not merely going to reason. Reasoning is very good, and very critical. But you need also to have an input. That is the only time when the general mwananchi, the mamamboga, the boda boda, because now the hustler has an opportunity to participate in making sure that what they regard as a priority. If, for example, where I stay in Menengai West, I would want to say that water to me is a priority. But in the last 5 years, right now we have relatively good roads. Roads have been made, and it's good, and we're enjoying them, and it's something that we enjoy. But to me, water is a priority. Because even without water, adequate and clean water, even but how many people will come out during those public participations?
That is a big question.
And I would think that instead of them being at the ward level, I would even think that we should be having them at the sub-location.
Sub-location, yeah.
So that we have greater participation, more widespread. But because even at the ward level, you'll go to that hall, wherever they are meeting, and you just find some people who have actually been motivated, quote unquote, to come. There are very few people, even when there is that information, who actually say, I think this is something that matters to me.
Yes.
And to us. And they mobilize. We have even, estate, groups. And, but they will hardly mobilize people to participate in those forums. They wait for the leader, let the leader suggest, and sometimes
it's too unfortunate if
they
you
do
come
that
to
for their own personal interests.
Yeah, it's too unfortunate if you come to the forum to listen, you know. So you lack what I would say, you don't own up the process. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. I want to agree with Mwalimu. It's quite unfortunate that we've not been able to delink politics from our development, though we may not be able to delink it as we would expect, but at a certain level, there's need to differentiate. These are matters development and politics a little bit aside so that we can grow as a nation. There's the issue of numbers and the issue of quality. As Mwalimu put it right, it's very true. Our politicians have been able to hijack the development processes. To an extent, when it comes to participation in the CIDP process, they come with the notion of a project. A CIDP is about the programs that are expected to be implemented to improve the lives of the people. So there's the project, that's growth. But growth is different from development. Growth is development is about changing lives. Like he puts it right, we will want to measure within the next 5 years how many people in Menengai West have been able to access water. And not just water, but clean and safe water. That is development. How many women no longer walk 10 kilometers looking for water in Nakuru County, such that they're able to put, or to use that time, to do more other productive activities for the benefit of their lives and the lives of their family. We need to get to that level. But unfortunately, our politicians see this process as an opportunity to implement projects. One-off, and how much is expected to be allocated in these projects, and perhaps how are they going to benefit from that implementation process. So that is why, as civil society organizations and with the help of International Budget Partnership, we are voting for or promoting public deliberation. Not just public participation, because public participation has more or less been misused because people just come to hear wamekaa.
And how do you do the
They are called.
deliberations?
Deliberations, we have proper guidelines in terms of guiding the processes of the CDP process when it comes to involving and engaging the public.
Yeah.
Right from mobilization, who should come to this meeting? You as a person in charge, for example, at the ward level, we expect the ward administrator to be in charge of the processes of getting people's views and documenting the same. So people should have an opportunity of giving their views and getting feedback in terms of to what extent their views were incorporated even in that plan. But that normal public participation, people just come, they listen because some of them have been mobilized and motivated to come, and then they leave. So the aspect of inclusivity, the aspect of representation in that ward, have you involved everyone in that ward? Is there anybody who has been left behind? Have you picked people's views? How do you lead this discussion? Are some people dominating the discussion against others? You know, have you documented? Have you given feedback? Have you incorporated? You know, it's a long process.
Yes, allow me to take you back regarding what you have said, because you have been doing this work for some time. If it is not the issue of incorporating politics in the development programs, how should it be done from the scratch up to maybe implementing the project? What could have been done now, assuming there are no politics, and now you're following the law, we are following the right procedure? How should it be done? What is the starting point?
All right. Starting from the issue of politics, politicians aside, what we're saying is that not that the MCAs, for example, should not be involved in that process. They are our representatives, and they should be able to represent our priorities right from the CDP level. So what we need to do is to empower them to understand what the process is all about. It's, for example, it's beyond projects. It's about the programs. It's about the people in this county, not those who voted for you, but everybody who lives here, whether they voted for you or not, pick their issues and ensure they're properly documented. So what the county has done, I think we're on the right track as a county, because we've come together with the Department of Economic Planning. They have a circular already prepared. They've gone out of their way to train the ward administrators, the sub-county administrators, and they are very soon meeting with the county assembly to bring them on board, understand the process and how it should go and be undertaken. Actually, there are proper guidelines for CDP development and prepared by the national government. It's called the Ministry of Devolution and Planning. So there are proper guidelines on how to do it. So having done that, of course, now the engagement with the government stakeholders and non-government organizations and with the community groups. So that's how it's done. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe Mr. Michael, regarding to the development in our regions, how do you think we as people on the ground, we should do it properly and also to get the big say in our developments without interference from our politicians? How would you go about it?
For a start, I think for far too long, we have looked at leaders and particularly political leaders as the people who come up with what we need.
Yes.
After all, most of their promises during the campaigns are based on that. But I think that should have been based more on the issue of the promises should be based more on what they have found on the ground, what the needs that they have deciphered from the ground, other than what they think is appropriate. Because as I'm saying, there are some things that you think that if I brought this project, I would really be seen to work. But there is a more an issue which could be able to be more helpful. Like, let me say, there are so many of our young people who have been to school. They have Form 4 education, they have university education, but they don't have jobs. If they were trained or to do some online, online jobs, and probably they are those social halls, they put Wi-Fi and everything, and those young people, that's not something that will be seen out there by the public. But it's something that will impact the people. So to start with, I think we the people should, as our constitution starts, we the people should actually be very much aware of what kind of programs do we need in our locality.
Yes.
Number two, the estate groups, should come up and say, this I think should be our priority, and then they escalate that to the DP or whatever discussion, public participations, and they put their voice there. There is also sometimes when you can actually petition through the ward administrator, through the MCA, you can actually petition to them and say, this is what we feel that should actually be put in place. So I'm simply saying that we need more information. We need people who are informed.
Yeah.
We need people who are not going to wait on the handouts from the politicians, but people who are actually more determined to see programs and systems in our place. And once we have that, you look at some of those places that people never complain about development.
Yeah.
What development projects are put in their place. You realize that they are very organized. Like one of them is Karen Rangata Association somewhere in Nairobi. For a very, very long time. They have even sometimes gone to court to petition certain things that have been done there. Because this is our area, we are not moving away from it.
And we have the voice.
Yeah, and we have the voice. And therefore, I think the mobilization should start from our estates.
Yeah, and I think also before you chip in, is the challenge of the politicians wanting to push some projects which are going to propel them to the election. You know, when they focus their mind there, I think now we start losing it from the beginning. And then sometimes they are very influential, they have the voice, they have the mechanism, they know how to maneuver to get the right project to enable them to be re-elected, right? Yeah.
That's true. I'm laughing because I happen to have interacted with our currently elected members of the County Assembly. And my quick observation is that I'm afraid to say we have a long way to go as a county because the capacity of our current members of the County Assembly is wanting in terms of participating in the development processes. And that's the more need in terms of strengthening their capacity to understand what happens, how and when, and how should they involve the public. Most of our members of the County Assembly are saying, every morning I wake up, I find visitors at my door. What are they coming to do? They're coming to take tea, and so I have to take care of them. Everybody comes with a case. My child, my husband, my son, you know, there's a death, there's a wedding. Those are the things that members of County Assembly are addressing at the moment. And I'm afraid that they're seeing that the CDP process provides them with an opportunity to be able to somewhat address the development issues as well as these other personal issues at the community level. Because even our people are not aware. Like Mwalimu puts it right, lack of information is very dangerous. So what happens is that we need to bring our MCAs up to speed with the processes that go into the CDP. We begin from the Sustainable Development Goals. We go to our Kenya Mission 2030, our national plan. We also need to consider our previous county integrated development plan. What did it have? How far have we achieved? What were the gaps? What can we do moving forward? And then, of course, bring our people into that conversation. Because if our MCAs, for example, do not understand the process, it will be very difficult for our people at the community level to understand. Because they have a following, they have a clout there. So we need to educate them that please, it's not about the 2,000, the 1,000 and the 100. But in the next 5 years, communally speaking, you know, that which belongs to everyone in the community, how can we go there? Instead of looking at CDP from an individual point of view.
Right. I mean, we have 2 minutes to...
Sorry. There is one other thing that I think in law, when it comes to budget allocation for those projects which are already there, the people who do that is the county assembly,
Yes.
Is the county assembly. And one of the things that I've also realized is you could also be having those, that's what she's talking about, the issues of capacity for our elected leaders. You could also be having very nice
CIDP.
But at the end of the day, the budget allocation, people take the money to where they believe will give them crowd, as you're saying. But I think once the CIDP has been produced, we should go according to that, even when it comes to budgetary allocation, so that we don't divert funds to other things which are very mundane.
All right. Allow me to give you 30 seconds to be able to finalize on this matter, maybe, because finally we need our people to come to these forums. What would be, in 30 seconds, your message to the public regarding to participating in these things, both of you?
Thank you, Paul. I think this is a very important moment for all Kenyans, and especially the residents of Nakuru County, to participate in this process. Because as the law provides, if it was not planned for, it cannot be budgeted for, and eventually it cannot be implemented. So it's an opportunity for the residents of Nakuru County to come out and speak, air their voices in terms of their priorities bordering on service delivery, for them to improve on their livelihoods.
Thank you so very much.
I just want to echo what she said. Let the people come out and participate in the public forums that we are going to have.
I want to thank you, Wilkista Akinyi, for coming to us from the Civil Society, CGG, even for your contribution in our mid-morning this morning, and also Mr. Michael Geshohi, a retired teacher and trainer, and also a leadership consultant, for finding time to come and participate in our program this morning. Dear viewer, I want to also thank you for watching the program this morning at the Mid-Morning Park, the last day of the month of November. We are now crossing over to the last month of the year 2022, and I believe everything is working out very well. On behalf of my colleague Mangicho Mola, remember this week we are looking forward for the Hustlers Fund launch. The maize importation has been suspended, so farmers are overcrowding in the depots to sell their maize in the parts of the Rift Valley, whereby MPs are expected tomorrow to approve or to reject the PS nominations report, and then World Cup is ongoing. On behalf of everybody here, my name is Paul Kagi. Have a blessed day.